Shalom and blessings. Good morning to all my brothers and sisters, all of my kinsmen, according to the flesh, who are Israelites. All right. To whom pertain the adoption and the glory and the covenants and the giving of the law and the service of Elohim and the promises. All right. Whose are the fathers, and of whom, as concerning the flesh, Mashiach came, who is over all. Elohim blessed forever and ever. All praise to the Most High. All right. Good morning to all my brothers and sisters. Hope y'all doing well. All right. Takes a while for people to chime in around this time, but in any case, we got a few people in. I want to say good morning to everybody. Hope y'all having a blessed morning. It's afternoon in some places. Hope y'all had a blessed weekend as well. Shalom and bless. Nisi Lewis, my love. Peace and blessings. Sister Pensy Lola. Shalom and blessings to you as well. Brother Kenneth Wilkerson. Shalom to you. Brother Cleo. How you doing, sir? Hope you're doing well. We didn't really get a chance to vibe out this weekend because of the issue, but hope everything worked out well. We'll catch up. PG, shalom and blessings to you. Hope you're having a blessed morning, a blessed weekend. Donovan Ben Judah, peace and blessings to you. Hope you're doing well, bro. Sister Sheila, shalom to you. Hope everybody's doing well this morning. Want to give our praises, honor, and glory to the Most High. Want to thank him for all of his goodness, his mercy, and his grace, and for allowing us in these last days to see the truth, to have our eyes open to see the truth from his word. Want to say shout out, peace and blessings to my brothers over at the Salt of the Earth, Brother Bunya, Brother Cleo, and Brother Kadar. Shout out to Brother Kadar for the video he did yesterday dealing with leaving Babylon and coming into the wilderness. Most High willing, I'm going to try to put that up on the channel sometime later so the brothers and sisters can sort of get an eye on that. Blessed work by Brother Kadar. And also, brothers and sisters, keep us in your prayers concerning the work that we promise to bring forth in the future concerning the truth about replacement theology, and who the gospel is for, and those types of things we've been dealing with over the past few months. Keep us in your prayers on that so that work can come forth. Shalom and blessings. Abaya Benya. Hope you're doing well. I was sort of torn today, brothers and sisters, on what I was going to bring forth this morning. I had two issues I wanted to deal with. The first, dealing with the end told from the beginning. All right, I was going to get deep into some information going into the Book of Enoch and showing Enoch's history and showing how the Most High dealt with him in regards to the times that we're in, and deal with some of that information. And then the other topic I wanted to deal with was dealing with the Mashiach, and simply the title of that is going to be, Who Do Ye Say That I Am? And with that topic, I wanted to sort of open it up some, to kind of let brothers and sisters express their view of who the Mashiach is to them. It's an obvious divide amongst Israel concerning who the Mashiach is and how we should address him and how we should honor him and in what regard we should honor him. And so I wanted to kind of allow that to be brought forward, allow some brothers and sisters to express their views, bring forth scripture. And I was going to do the same thing as well, you know, kind of make it a family affair to establish who our Savior is to us and who he should be to us. Remember, he came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And so he came for a purpose. And once we align that purpose up with our belief and our understanding of who he is, you know, then we can come to a better understanding. But those are the two topics that I was torn between. And so what I want to deal with this morning is just the end from the beginning. And I want to save that topic dealing with the Mashiach for maybe later on in the evening, because I feel like that'll be a time when more brothers and sisters can come on. You know, they'll be free to come on, and that'll give people a better chance to come forth with information if they want to. You know, more people can attend during that topic, you know. So I want to deal with the end from the beginning today, and we're going to deal with some history dealing with our forefather Enoch. All right. We all know about Enoch from Genesis, how it says that he walked with Elohim and that Elohim took him. All right. And so some people's understanding of that is different from others, but we won't get deep into that aspect of it. What I want to deal with mostly is Enoch's history, the things that he did while he was on the earth, what he left behind, and what those records that he left behind entails. You know, what are in those records that can edify us today, or that applies to us today, you know. And so these are things that I like to bring forth, because these are things that help me in a foundational way. You know, a lot of people get caught off in the spiritual aspect of things without realizing that the spiritual aspect is really the totality of it. So when we're in the spirit, we're not dealing with some aspect that can't be explained, or that's far beyond what's been documented. The spirit, the purpose of the spirit is to help us understand what's been documented. The purpose of the scripture is to elevate us and to give us hope in our time. So the purpose of the spirit is to lead us in that aspect, help us to understand what the Most High had documented for our edification, you know. And we know that our records have been subject to a lot of different things, a lot of, you know, changes and translations and mistranslations and many different versions, you know, modern versions, you know. But that's where the spirit comes in and helps us out to be able to weave through all of those things. You know, we speak a foreign language, and so those records have been broken all the way down to a language that we speak and understand in our time. And it's through the spirit that we can see past the mistranslations, or the spirit will even lead us, you know, into other information. You know, the spirit is not just some spooky, unexplainable aspect. The spirit makes us do work, you know, and it leads us into the right work, you know, things that don't waste our time, things that help us get the understanding that we need. And that's just, a way that the Most High protects us through the Spirit. All right. Shalom and blessings, Brother Kadar. Hope you're doing well, bro. Appreciate that video you did yesterday. Like I said, I'm gonna try to air that up on the channel later. He say, nah, bro, y'all, if he came for the gents. Man, you know what? That's a funny name, man. The gents. That's funny. But if you be technical, brother Cleo, he did. If you understand what I mean by that, he did come for the Gentiles, if you know what I mean. And we dealt with that. So shalom, brother Hadasah bin Yah. Hope you're doing well. I try to pronounce people's names correct, because that's another fulfillment of prophecy as well. A lot of people make fun of the fact that people are changing the names, but the scripture said in prophecy that these things would happen, that we would surnames ourselves after our forefathers. So that's a beautiful thing, man. Shalom and blessings. Brother Jason, how you doing, sir? Hope you're doing well today. Thank y'all for chiming in. But what I'm going to do real quick is let's go ahead, because we're going to stay on point. All right. Let's open up with our passage. All right. Psalms chapter 5. Shalom. Shalom, Sister Bornbow. Hope you're doing well, sis. Shalom, Brother Calvin. Hope everybody's doing well today. Hope y'all had a blessed weekend. Hope y'all got your rest in. Shalom, Sister Patricia Thomas. How you doing, sis? Peace and blessings to you. Thank y'all for joining in. Yeah. Brother Cleo know what I'm talking about. Man. But let's get Psalms chapter 5. Let me give me a drink real quick. Psalms chapter 5. It says, give ear to my words, O Yehovah. Let me get my marker. Give ear to my words, O Yehovah. Consider my meditation. And remember what our meditation is. Our meditation is on the law of the Most High, day and night. Hearken unto the voice of my cry, my King and my Elohim. For unto thee will I pray. My voice shalt thou hear in the morning, O Yehovah. In the morning will I direct my prayer unto thee, and will look up. For thou art not an Elohim that had pleasure in wickedness, neither shall evil dwell with thee. The foolish shall not stand in thy sight. Thou hatest all workers of iniquity. Thou shalt destroy them that speak leasing. Yahuwah will abhor the bloody and deceitful man. But as for me, I will come into thy house, in the multitude of thy mercy. And in thy fear will I worship toward thy holy temple. Just know that the Most High gives us everything that we need. He gives us the fear. He gives us the faith. He gives us the righteousness. He gives us the instruction. All right. Everything that we need, we get from him in order to please him. Thy mercy, thy fear, and thy holy temple. I will come into thy house in the multitude of thy mercy, and in thy fear will I worship toward thy holy temple. Lead me, O Yehovah, in thy righteousness, because of mine enemies. Make thy way straight before my face. For there is no faithfulness in their mouth. Their inward part is very wickedness. Their throat is an open sepulchre. They flatter with their tongue. Destroy thou them, O Elohim. Let them fall by their own counsels. Cast them out in the multitude of their transgressions, for they have rebelled against thee. But let all those that put their trust in thee rejoice. Let them ever shout for joy, because thou defendest them. Let them also that love thy name be joyful in thee. For thou, Yahweh, will bless the righteous. With favor wilt thou compass him as with the shield. All right. Remember, this is a code word. Remember the code words all over the scripture that the Most High uses to identify with his people. All right. Shalom and blessings, Sister Marsha. Hope you're doing well today. Good morning. Good afternoon. Wherever you are, I know it's afternoon in some places by now, and it's morning, just depending on where you are. Absolutely. Thank you, Sister Bombo. Sisters and brothers, hit the like button. That'll be much appreciated. All right. But I was speaking of the code words, the code terms that the Most High uses all over the Bible to identify with his people. All right. We know that wisdom and righteousness are both gifts or spirits that the Most High created for the purpose of leading his people. He created wisdom and he appointed wisdom in Jacob. All right. The Most High standard of righteousness he gave to his people as well. And so when you see the righteous, that's a code term. Another one we're familiar with is the poor. That's another code term to identify with his people, and in certain terms, in certain passages, the context, he'll use the fatherless, the widow. When you look at Jerusalem, there are many passages that refers to Jerusalem, the homeland or our motherland, as a widow who has been forsaken of her children. And we're the children who have been scattered. And so we're fatherless children who has been scattered into all the kingdoms of the earth. And our mother, which is the land, is left a widow. And so when you're able to apply that in the context of certain passages that you read, the passages that deal with that, you can understand that the fullness of that, of what the Most High is trying to do. All right. So that's our opening passage. All right, in the book of Psalms chapter 5. That's our opening dedication. I hope that's edifying to you, brothers and sisters. And once again, for you brothers and sisters who have certain scriptures and things you want to dedicate to the family, feel free to put it up in the chat, and also I like to, one thing we like to do is we like to put the link in the chat in case brothers and sisters want to just say good morning, you want to dedicate something to the people that can bless the people, feel free to do so. And so real quick, let's take a break real quick. When I come back, well, no, this is another one I wanted to do real quick before we go to break. Let's get this one. One of the Psalms one of the many Psalms that our forefather King David wrote. Another one that I feel will be a blessing to the family. It's called the Syriac Psalm, the third Psalm, 155. All right, if you know anything about the restored Psalms, this is one of them. All right. And so let's check this out. Let me get my marker ready. It says, O Lord, I have called to thee. Hear me. I have spread out my hands toward thy holy dwelling place. All right. Remember, I will come into the multitude of thy mercies and worship toward thy holy temple. Turn thine ear and grant me my request, and do not withhold my plea from me. Construct my soul and do not cast it away, and do not leave it alone before the wicked. It's the code word. Who are the wicked? The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. The wicked, according to another passage, was reserved for the day of the great judgment. Verse 7. May the true judge turn away from me the rewards of evil. Lord, do not judge me according to my sins, for no living man is righteous before thee. All right, we read many passages, even in I think it's Jeremiah 50, where it talks about how the Most High is going to cleanse Judah and Israel of their sins, and their sins shall no longer be found. Lord, do not judge me according to my sins, for no living man is righteous before thee. Lord, cause me to understand thy law. Cause me to understand thy law. Help us understand your law and teach me thy judgments. What are your expectations? What are the end results of all matters? You know, how do the Most High view certain things? What do he like? What do he dislike? That's what we have the word. That's what we have the scriptures for. And the multitude shall hear of thy deeds, and the peoples shall honor thy glory. Remember me and forget me not, and bring me not to unbearable hardships. This is my prayer, my hope for all my brothers and sisters, that the Most High remember us and reserve us and keep us from things we can't bear, unbearable hardships, you know, losses of family, you know, having to deal with dire circumstances. You know, the Most High said he would be a sanctuary for us. It says, put away from me the sin of my youth. We're going to get into that as well in another discussion. Sins of youth. And may my sins not be remembered against me. Lord, cleanse me from the evil plague, and let it not return to me. Dry up its roots within me, and permit not its leaves to flourish in me. Lord, thou art glory. Therefore, my plea is fulfilled before thee. To whom shall I cry so that he will grant it to me? What more can the power of the sons of men do? All right. Who else can grant us the plea? All right. What are we pleading for? Are we pleading for justice? Are we pleading for equality? Are we pleading for our people to not get shot down in the streets? Are we pleading for jobs? Are we pleading for reparations, or are we pleading for the Most High to deliver us and to bring us out. What more can the power of the sons of men do? All that stuff is the power of the sons of men. What would be a good number anyway? You know, what would be a good number that would suffice us for everything that our forefathers went through in the past, all the way up to what we're going through now? What would be a good number? Brother T, shalom. Hope you're doing well, my bro. But what would be a good number? You know, what more can the power of the sons of men do? You know, from before thee, O Lord, comes my trust. I cried to the Lord and he answered me. He healed the brokenness of my heart. All right. A lot of our people are brokenhearted, you know, and let's not even talk about the system and what's happening to our people now. Think about the heartbreak that we go through in our families and in our households, how torn our families are, the relationship between mothers and daughters, you know, the lack of relationship between fathers and children, you know, and you starting to see things get better on that end a little bit now, you know, but brokenheartedness, brokenhearted from relationships, people been in marriages and friendships and relationships with family, you know, and a lot of us aren't really healed from those things, not to mention the trauma that's in our blood by default from what our forefathers went through. So we're a people that's really in a condition that it's probably best, you know, we don't really get deep into a lot of things, you know, and it's by the grace of the Most High that we're able to stand, you know, in spite of those things. He healed the brokenness of my heart. I was sleepy and I slept. I dreamt and also I awoke. You know, how many of us been in this condition, in this state? You know, we just heard a brother, I think last week on a live we had, he said, man, he was sleepwalking for a long time. You know, we would sleep and we slept. We dreamt and then we woke. Lord, thou didst support me when my heart was stricken, and I called upon the Lord, my Savior. All right, this is why some of us ain't lost our minds in spite of some of the stuff we went through. You know, the book tells us that, you know, the Most High hollows out those whom he chooses. And so in spite of what you went through, it was the Most High that supported you all that time, kept you from snapping and going crazy and doing what was in your mind to do, you know. And you can only imagine what some people have in their mind to do. And some of that stuff is coming out in these days. But all praises to the Most High. He said, thou didst support me when my heart was stricken, and I called upon the Lord, my Savior. Now I will see their shame. All right. There's people who dug these pits for us. He said, they gonna fall in those pits. And he said, now I will see their shame. I have relied on thee, and I will not be ashamed. Render glory forever and ever. Redeem Israel, thy pious one. All right. That's another code word. And you see who the pious one is. Redeem Israel, thy pious one. O Lord, and the house of Jacob, thine elect. All right. So this is for our people. This is more hope for our people. You know, a lot of brothers and sisters could have done a lot of things in life, could have made a lot of choices that could have ended badly, you know, but it's only by the grace of the Most High that he sustained us and kept us from veering off and going into those things, because it's all a setup, you know. In the testament of the 12 patriarchs, it tells us that every evil spirit will be aimed at the Most High's chosen, particularly Judah and Levi, because from Judah and Levi comes the salvation. And the Most High, through the Levites, performs his services through the people, to the people. This is how the people bring the offerings to the Most High. You know, it's through his priests. We have the Mashiach now as the high priest. But once he restores Israel, he's going to restore his priests. And he's going to restore Judah back to the proper position that Judah's supposed to be in. So these are things that, you know, we should look forward to, you know, and even understanding the things that we've been through, even in our time, you know. We thank the Most High, we give him honor, we give him all the praise, and we give him all the credit for sustaining us, because a lot of us have been through some lonely times in this truth, you know. A lot of us have, you know, suffered a lot of loss in this truth, friends, family. And looking back on it, some of it might have even been in our zeal. We may have ran some people off in our life, you know. But growing in truth, growing in understanding, you know, you learn how to deal with people. You learn how to, you know, let the word of God do what it's supposed to do. You learn that the only way a person is going to accept it is that they have to have a desire for it. The Mashiach said, seek and ye shall find, you know. Blessed are they that hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they should be filled. You got to want it that bad. And a lot of people have reached that point, you know, to where they hungering and thirsting for the truth, thirsting for righteousness. I done lived my life. I've done this. I've done that. I've got the result of it. I didn't like it, you know. And then when you come into the full understanding, the Most High really helps you see what it is that you are actually into, you know. And so I hope that inspires the family. Let's take a break real quick. I got the link in the chat, I think, so I'm gonna put it again. When I come back, we're gonna get into the end from the beginning. All right. We have a rich history. Our history is very profound. You hear a lot of the brothers on the channel at times talk about cheat codes, right? And so these cheat codes are limitless. All right. The way that the Most High dealt with our forefathers, he said he ain't dealt with nobody else in that manner. And so you have a lot of science, so-called, falsely so-called today, that tries to mimic a lot of what the Most High allowed our forefathers to do. You know, the Most High allowed our forefathers to see the beginning and the end. They were there. This is why John was in the spirit on the Lord's day. He actually saw what was taking place in the end time. Moses, who else? Abraham. These people actually saw what took place in the beginning and what took place in the end time. That's what the Most High showed him when he was up on that mountain. So think about that, when we talk about that. Shalom, Big Red. How you doing, bro? I got the link in the chat, man. If anybody want to chime in, I'm going to take a break real quick. And when we come back, we're going to get into some history about our forefather Enoch, all right? And we're going to show you how the Most High dealt with him in an in-depth manner. We're going to show you his spirit, his character, and show you how the Most High showed him the end from the beginning, all right? I want to thank you, brothers and sisters, for chiming in and spending your time with us on the side of the earth. Peace and blessings to you. I'll be right back. Shalom and Blessings. Welcome back. I want to thank you, brothers and sisters, for chiming in. Peace and blessings to my brother Ty C. Rowland out there in the Philippines. Glad you could join in with us. Shout out also to my brother Ralph and his wife out there in Australia, and to our brothers out there in other parts of Europe doing the work for the Most High. Peace and blessings to all you brothers and sisters. You're in our prayers, and just know that we're constantly thinking about you, keeping you in our prayers, and hoping that the Most High is with you. I'll have a chance to reach out to you this week, Brother Tasi. Peace and blessings to you. Absolutely. The prayer, don't forget about the Friday night prayer and the Wednesday night Kingdom Conversations. We really do appreciate you, brothers and sisters, chiming in and supporting that. Just know that all of that means a lot to us, to know that brothers and sisters are joining in and adding their spiritual power, praying to the Most High, crying out to the Most High, that really means a lot. Absolutely. Absolutely, bro. Brother Tasi out there in the Philippines, y'all, keep the brother in your prayers. And what else I had? I think that was it as far as the announcement part. On that note, let's get into the reading. We dealing with the end from the beginning. All right. Let me see something here. All right. This is Isaiah chapter 46, verse 9. It says, remember the former things of old. All right. Remember the former things of old, for I am Elohim, and there is none else. I am Elohim, and there is none like me, declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. All right, so if you're really reading this in layman's terms, this is like somebody telling you, man, you better ask about me. All right, ask about me. Remember the former things of old. All right, for I am Elohim, and there is none else. I am Elohim, and there is none like me, declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times the things that are not yet done. So this is like him saying, in ancient times, I declared the things in ancient times that are not yet done as though they were. So when you read Genesis, for instance, when he says, unto Abraham, unto thy seed have I given this land, from the river of Egypt to the great river, the river Euphrates. When he told Abraham that, Abraham didn't have any children. It wasn't until 25 years later that that Isaac was born. Ishmael was born before that. But at the time that the Most High told Abraham that he didn't have any children at all, and he spoke to him as though what he was saying was already done. So before Abraham had any children, he said, to your seed, I've already given you this land. All right. Shalom, brother Jamal.
Shalom.
How you doing?
So I just wanted to, I'm doing good. I just want to throw out there about my favorite book is Job. And I feel like, if you just really read and pay attention to Job, like I mean, Job didn't really do much to deserve, everything he went through, but the devil was trying him. And I feel like that's all of us, all of, the people. Like, I mean, I look at like who else could withstand what we've had to throughout history. Like, I mean, I look at like we're not, like just on average like that much bigger than everybody else, but we're like more capable, if that makes any sense to anybody. Like I remember when I was young, like I think I was in like the seventh grade. I could jump up, grab the rim and stuff. And then I dunked for the first time when I was in the eighth grade, and people went wild. And that's the kind of people we are. Like I was around other Israelites that could do the same, but other people would, go crazy over our abilities and stuff. Like who else could go through this? Like God is using us to show the world, like, He's here. So
Yeah,
that's all I gotta say. I just want to throw out there, like I was just reading the Book of Job this morning, and I was just thinking, like, who else? Who else?
and Brother Jamal, have you ever read through the testaments of the 12 patriarchs?
Nah, I haven't.
If you I think I've read through a couple of them on the channel. I'm gonna do another reading all the way through them.
Cool.
But
Yeah, I'm fairly new here, but I love this channel. It's one of my favorites for real.
thank you, bro. And we're gonna get into more of that because you were speaking on the ability, like the athletic ability from an early age. You'll read a lot of that in our forefathers, the ability that they had, physically,
Yeah.
And so when you read about people like King David, when you read about people like Samson in the Bible, you will see that a lot of our forefathers, even back to the 12 patriarchs, had some of these same abilities. So this was something that was genetic, is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
And at some point, we were separated from that, But
Yeah.
awesome point, man. Excellent
All
point.
right. So before I head out, what is it? The 12 patriarchs or what?
It's just the 12 patriarchs dealing with the testaments that each one of the patriarchs left behind.
Oh, cool.
You know how Jacob, before he died, he left a testament to his 12 sons and letting them know what will befall them in the end days.
Yeah.
Each one of his sons left a testament to their children.
Mm.
And so in each one of those testaments, they go sort of in depth about their backgrounds and how they grew up and some of the mistakes they made and how the Most High judged them as a result of it. And so I'm gonna bring some of those things out so that our people can have a better understanding, of some of the things we deal with.
Yeah. That's cool, man. That's cool, my brother.
But yeah, man. Thank you for chiming in, bro. Anything you want to say? Anything?
Well, I appreciate you, let me, talk about the Book of Job because that's my favorite book. And I just want everybody else, on here to just sit back and think about it. Like, all this stress and strain that our people have to go through, we're chose. We're chose. So just sit back and, think about like how you can connect further with the Most High and just know we chose. It feels good to know that.
Yeah.
All right, I'm out. Have a good one, y'all.
Appreciate you, bro. It's Brother Jamal. All right. The cheat codes all over the book, and I know we're using that just as a loose term, but this is something really serious to consider. These are things that our forefathers could do, and the Most High said he's going to restore these things back. All right, so that's why he's telling us, remember the former things of old. All right. For I'm Elohim and there is none else. I'm Elohim and there is none like me. Declaring the end from the beginning and from ancient times, the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand and I will do all my pleasure. So everything we read that pertains to the end time, the Most High said this is his pleasure. All right. Whether it be the deliverance of one people and the destruction of another, he said this is his pleasure. And he's already set in his heart to do it. All right. And in other passages, we read where the Most High said that nothing is going to stop these judgments or these end results. All right. Like I said, whether it be the redemption of one and the destruction of another, these are things that the Most High has already set in his heart to do. And we're just simply here to declare these things. All right. So the end from the beginning. All right. There are a lot of ways that the Most High done this throughout the scripture. You know, he did it with Adam and Eve in the garden, with the serpent and the woman's seed. All right. That's declaring the end from the beginning. He did it with our forefather Abraham. You know, he called those things that were not as though they were. You know, he told our forefather Abraham of the captivity and the deliverance of our day. You know, he did it then. And what we're going to deal with in particular is how he did it with our forefather Enoch. All right. Because we know that during Enoch's day, Israel was not a nation, you know. And so this would be a more neutral point to begin with. And why are we starting with Enoch? All right. I'm going to show you why. All right, let's go. This is the book of Jude. Jude, verse 14. It's only one chapter in Jude. This is Jude, verse 14. It says, and Enoch also, let me get my highlighter. And Enoch also, the seventh from Adam. All right. Keep that in mind. Enoch was the seventh man on earth from Adam. All right. Enoch also, the seventh from Adam, prophesied. So Enoch prophesied of these, saying, behold, Yahweh cometh with 10,000s of his saints to execute judgment upon all and to destroy all that are ungodly among them of all their ungodly deeds which they have ungodly committed, and of all their hard speeches which ungodly sinners have spoken against him. All right, so this is Jude, and he's quoting from Enoch. All right, so off top, the type of person I am, the type of reader I am, this lets me know that not only were the prophets, I mean, not the prophets, but the apostles, the disciples, you know, during the Mashiach's time on forward, not only were they quoting from the prophets like Daniel, Jeremiah, Isaiah, but they were also quoting from these books as well. All right. How was Jude able to not only tell us that Enoch prophesied, but he also quoted the prophecy? All right. And like I said, the type of reader I am, this lets me know, or if this is proof of how they fragmented our records and how they left things out. All right. Enoch prophesied of the Most High coming with 10,000s of his saints to execute judgment upon all and to destroy all that are ungodly among them of all their ungodly deeds which they have ungodly committed, and of all their hard speeches which ungodly sinners have spoken against him. Shalom, shalom. Brother Kadar, what's going on? You muted out. Shalom.
Shalom, how you doing, brother?
What's going on?
Come in and because you got a good lesson going on here. I'm just coming in just to join you, listening. Shalom to the chat.
How you been, man? We haven't heard from you. I saw the video you did yesterday, but we haven't heard from you in a few days, man. How's everything been going?
It's going. I'm going better. Look, much better. Got moved in down here. I'm back in the South, and I was kind of a little teared up when I was leaving the North, but actually I moved back to Reesville, North Carolina, and I moved actually back where I was raised at, on the same road and everything, and where my people was enslaved at on my mother's side. Yeah, so
Wow.
yeah, and then I'm already got to go back to work Wednesday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, but other than that, yeah, I'm doing much better, much better.
That's good, man. Good to hear from you, bro. The video you did yesterday. Once I get settled in a little later in the early evening, I'll play that because that was nice.
Okay, Shalom. I want to send a message to you, but I said, let me just go ahead and do this. It's already on my heart, and so I just, went in and did it. Yeah. Okay.
That's good, man. Like I say, man, we just looking at this end from the beginning, told from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And so you got something you want to chime in and add on that?
I just want to say this right quick. Genesis 15, 12, 13, 14. This is exactly what he's talking about. That 400-year prophecy. He showed us the ending from the beginning.
Yeah. And like I said, it's amazing because like when we read the scripture, when he say he has not dealt so with any nation, that's we only think about the commandments and the laws and stuff, but that's talking about all of that stuff, man. The Most High gave our forefathers divine insight and foresight of what would take place in the last days, and this was in ancient times.
Mm-hmm.
So this is why when you read how they describe certain creatures, a scorpion flying with teeth and all that, is that something spiritual, or is he describing what he saw? This is something that was in the last days,
Sound like a helicopter to me. Yeah.
Making a lot of noise and and so just think about that, man, and how divine that was in their time to see what we see in our day. And this is why, when we think about the end time, they even try to show it to us in the movies,
Mm-hmm.
how a whole city will get flooded or destroyed, or how it's an invasion from the sky, invading California or New York or something like that, and it's sort of what it does is it sort of numbs us, you know what I'm saying, to the actual truth of what could happen. You know what I'm saying? They trying to, numb you to sleep, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, we in Jude right now, Jude 14.
Okay.
Enoch, the seventh from Adam, prophesied of these things, saying, behold, Yahweh cometh with 10,000s of his saints. And this is actually in First Thessalonians as well, where it talks about, behold, he cometh with 10,000s of his saints, talking about when the Mashiach gonna return, or when we gonna meet him up in the sky, and in the clouds, and so shall we be with the Lord. And then in Revelations, it goes into how the Most High is going to come and execute judgment. You know what I'm saying? And so this is the same thing that Enoch is quoting. All right. And so, or that Jude is quoting from Enoch. So now this is the book of Enoch, chapter 1. And this is verse 9. I'm going to start. Let me see. I'm going to just read the whole chapter. All right. This is the book of Enoch, chapter 1. And this is proof that our forefathers back in their day was reading from these records. All right. This is the stuff they was reading from during the 12 patriarchs day, Abraham day. We're going to show you that. But this is the first chapter. It said the words. Come on. Okay. The words of the blessing of Enoch, wherewith he blessed the elect and righteous. All right. Who will be living in the day of tribulation. So already out top is opening up, letting you know this is dealing with a time to come, the elect and righteous. All right. This wasn't talking about during his time because he was the seventh man from Adam and he lived before the flood. All right. When all the wicked and godless are to be removed. All right. And he took up his parable and said, Enoch, a righteous man whose eyes were opened by God, saw the vision of the Holy One in the heavens, which the angel showed me. And from them I heard everything, and from them I understood as I saw, but not for this generation, but for a remote one which is for to come, a remote generation which is for to come. Now, this is taken in mind, like I said, the flood that happened during Enoch's day. But he wasn't even talking about that. He was talking about something beyond that. Mm-hmm. All right. So he said the angel showed him this, just like when you read the Book of Jubilees, when it goes into depth about Moses going up on the mount, it tells you that the angel revealed these things to him as well. So the Most High has a consistency in how he does things. It's just that we have to know and understand the history. These are things that's been held back and hidden from us. So he's talking about a remote generation to come concerning the elect, I said, and took up my parable concerning them. The Holy Great One will come forth from his dwelling, and the eternal God will tread upon the earth, even on Mount Sinai. All right. Remember this. The eternal God will tread upon the earth, even on Mount Sinai, and appear from his camp, and appear in the strength of his might from the heaven of heavens. And all shall be smitten with fear. Now, off top, Brother Kadar, who is this talking about?
When it say appear in his strength or his might from the heavens of heavens.
And all shall be smitten with fear.
That right there is in it's talking about the Gentiles. Well, the anti-Gentiles probably. Also, you know, that right there is, I think you can find that same, but it's written a different way. Well, it says everybody, you know, when people say, well, when scripture say all knees shall bow, but I think it's talking about the Gentiles right here.
Yeah, where it's talking about, how all the nations gonna fear.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But then to talk about how it's gonna read how he gonna have mercy on his elect. But
Yes.
even his elect, this is gonna be a fearful moment for all people, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But it's gonna take him to give us the spirit of joy in order to understand what's going on, because this is a bad time for all the nations.
Yes.
He said, and all shall be smitten with fear, and the watchers shall quake, and great fear and trembling shall seize them unto the ends of the earth, and the high mountains shall be shaken, and the high hills shall be made low, and shall melt like wax before the flame. Shalom and blessings, brother Sean and brother Jamal McBride. That's Jamal. He probably just chimed in. Sister Betty Bent, shalom and blessings to you. Everybody, shalom to everybody just chiming in. But verse 7, and the earth shall be wholly rent in sunder, and all that is upon the earth shall perish, and there shall be a judgment upon all men. But with the righteous he will make peace, and will protect the elect, and mercy shall be upon them, and they shall all belong to God, and shall be prospered, and they shall all be blessed, and he will help them all, and light shall appear unto them. Remember the light of the Gentiles. The Gentiles shall appear or shall come unto thy light, right? And he will make peace with them. Behold, he cometh with 10,000s of his holy ones to execute judgment upon all, and to destroy all the ungodly, and to convict all flesh of all the works of their ungodliness, which they have ungodly committed, and of all the hard things which ungodly sinners have spoken against him. All right. So remember who the sinners are, who the wicked are. Code words. All right. It's the same thing we just read over here in Jude. Behold, he cometh with 10,000 of his saints to execute judgment upon all, and to destroy all that are ungodly among them of all their ungodly deeds, which they have ungodly committed, and of all their hard speeches, which ungodly sinners have spoken against him. All right. So, let's see.
You know, Job 3 go along with that too.
Job.
Yeah, not Job, but Joel chapter 3. I'm sorry. Yeah, Joel chapter 3. When he gathered all them nations in the valley of Jehoshaphat,
Yeah.
plead for his people, his heritage Israel, because what the sins that they did against us.
Yeah. Joel 3. Yep. For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations, and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage, Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. All right. In another passage of scripture, it talks about them as the destroyer of his heritage, destroyer of mine heritage. Right. And so people get hung up on the heritage, and it's all about the spirit, when our people purposely separated themselves from the heritage. It was the Most High's intent for the heritage to continue. That's our inheritance. So he said, and they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for a harlot, and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. Yea, what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coast of the Philistines? will ye render me a recompense? And if ye recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your head, because you have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly and pleasant things. All right.
Mm-hmm.
The children of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their borders. Behold, I will raise them up. I will raise them out of the place whither ye have sold them, and will return your recompense on your own head. He said he's going to raise us up, raise us out of the place. And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabaeans, to a people far off, for Yahweh had spoken it. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. So are these the same Gentiles that's spoken of in Ephesians 2? And in Romans, prepare war. Wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, and let them come up. So all of this is describing the time that Enoch is speaking of. You know, when he's speaking of how the Most High is going to come and destroy all the nations, but he's going to have mercy on his elect. All right. So this is, let me see, what is this right here? This is okay, this is the Book of Jubilees. All right. Now, Enoch was the seventh from Adam. Now let's see what the Book of Jubilees can give us concerning Enoch, all right, in his day. It says, and in the 11th Jubilee, Jared took to himself a wife, and her name was Barakah, the daughter of Rasual, a daughter of his father's brother, in the 4th week of this Jubilee. And she bare him a son in the 5th week, in the 4th year of the Jubilee. And he called his name Enoch. All right, so it's dealing with the birth of Enoch. Let's get some background on Enoch. 17, he said, and he was the first among men that are born on the earth, who learnt writing and knowledge and wisdom, and who wrote down the signs of heaven according to the order of their months in a book, that men might know the seasons of the years according to the order of their separate months. All right, so remember, if you read the book of Enoch, you'll see how the Most High took him up in the heavens into different parts of the earth, and he showed him different portals and different orders of the constellations, and the order of the sun and the stars and all of that. And he showed him the order of the years and the months according to how the Most High created it from the beginning. Because if you look at every culture now, everybody got their own system of, you know, when the new year is and when the month starts and all these different things. But Enoch was the first man in the earth to actually get the understanding from the Most High of how the Most High did it, how the Most High started the time and the creation, and how he ordered the months. And this is why when you read in the book of Exodus, before the Most High brought Israel out, he told them, he said, this month shall be the first month of the year. This shall be the beginning of months. This month shall be the first month of the year to you. Right? They come out of Egypt. Egypt had a system of weeks and months and all of that. But so why did he have to tell them that? It's because he was bringing them out of Egypt into his system of understanding the counts of the months and the years and all of that. And the Book of Jubilees gives you a good understanding of that. Enoch was the first man to learn how to write on the earth according to our records. Now, a lot of people will disagree with this, right? And they'll get all into different archaeology, but they'll tell you, you know, people were here 300,000 years ago, right? They'll tell you people was here in Africa. African civilizations was here 200,000 years ago, right? But the oldest language they show you is only about 5,000 years old. That's the oldest language they can show you. You know, they telling you that there were people on the earth 200,000 years ago, but can only show you a language. The oldest language they can show you only dates back 5,000 years. You know, maybe 6, depending on certain sources. And this is a historical fact. So what were they doing before that time? You know, just snapping their fingers and clicking their tongues. Where's the language? Where, you know, show us a language that's 200,000 years old. But our record is telling us that Enoch was the first to learn how to write. And he learned knowledge and wisdom, you know. And he wrote down the signs of heaven according to the order of the months in the book, that men might know the seasons of the years according to the order of their separate months. And he was the first to write a testimony, and he testified to the sons of men among the generations of the earth, and recounted the weeks of the Jubilees, and made known to them the days of the years, and set in order the months, and recounted the Sabbaths of the years as we made known to him. So this is actually the angel speaking to Moses, all right, and letting Moses, that's the beginning of the book of Jubilees. You know, it starts letting you know that the angel gave Moses all of this information. And so the angel was saying, as we made known to Enoch, he wrote all these things down, and everything that we made known to him, he made known to his children. And so Enoch set in order all of the months and the years, and he gave that understanding to them. And what was and what will be, he saw in a vision of his sleep, as it will happen to the children of men throughout their generations until the day of judgment. He saw and understood everything, and wrote his testimony, and placed the testimony on earth for all the children of men and for their generations. All right. So according to our record, Enoch was the first man to learn writing and wisdom. He was the first to write a testimony. He was the first to recount all of the ages from the beginning, set the months in order, and to give all this information to his children. All right. And once again, we can go to Luke 3 and show that Enoch was a progenitor of us today, the Israelites. So anybody want to say Enoch wasn't an Israelite? No, he wasn't technically an Israelite, but he was one of the many forefathers that if you trace his progeny all the way down, you'll see that we come out of that lineage through Enoch. All right. You want to add something, Brother Kadar?
Yes, Enoch. I haven't read the whole book, but I have read some of it. These books like Enoch, Jasher, or Abraham, books they took out, it gets more in depth about who we are as a people. And also it proves too that we was always being so-called black people, with the story of Noah in the book of Enoch. So Enoch, people, they'll say, oh, he wasn't Israelites. Well, of course, if you read, I think it was the last one you was reading, he was talking about the elect. He's speaking of Israel right there in the book of Enoch, because he's seeing the beginning, he's seeing the ending from the beginning. So he's speaking of Israel. He's calling them the elect, his chosen. So Enoch comes from the seventh man from Adam. We know, I think is in the book of Exodus, tells her, I think it's Exodus, tells us that Israel was divided separately from the other nations of the earth that come from Adam. So Enoch do fall in that lineage. If you go to Luke 3, I believe,
Yeah.
same thing. Enoch falls in the lineage. So technically he is an Israelite. It's just what's spoken back then.
Yeah. So that's like our forefathers that we come from, they weren't considered or called what we are called today, but we still come out of that progeny and that lineage. You know what I'm saying? So Enoch, during his day, being the seventh from Adam, Abraham wasn't born yet, Jacob wasn't born yet. None of those people were born during that day, but the Most High still used him in his day during his time being the seventh man, to show him what happened in the beginning and what would take place in the end time, and then to continue that pattern. Oh, hold on, what is this? Hold on one second. Okay, but to continue that pattern, once you read the Apocalypse of Abraham and books like that, you will see that these people had similar experience, So let's see what else we got here. That's the Book of Jubilees concerning Enoch. All right. So now let's look at Abraham's day. All right. And what Abraham was referring to. This is what chapter is this? Chapter 15, verse 22. It says, dealing with Abraham, it says, and he made an end of speaking and praying, and behold, the word of the Lord was sent to him through me, the angel speaking again, saying that the word of the Lord was sent to Abraham through me, saying, get thee up from thy country and from thy kindred and from the house of thy father unto a land which I shall show thee, and I shall make thee a great and numerous nation. And I shall bless thee, and I shall make thy name great, and thou wilt be a blessing in the earth. And in thee will all families of the earth be blessed. And I shall bless them that bless thee, and curse them that curse thee. And I shall be a God to thee and thy sons, and to thy sons' sons, and to all thy seed. Fear not, from henceforth unto all generations from the earth. I am thy God from henceforth and unto all generations of the earth. I am thy God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And the Lord God said, open his mouth and his ears, that he may hear and speak with his mouth, with the language which had been revealed, for it has ceased from the mouths of all the children of men from the day of the overthrow of Babel. And I opened his mouth and his ears and his lips, and I began to speak with him in Hebrew, in the tongue of the creation. many scholars that have backed this fact too, that Hebrew or ancient Hebrew is the oldest, or they call it many different forms, but even when you look at the etymology of words, the root of mostly every word that you look up goes back to the Hebrew. All right. Or if it has or if it connects to the Hebrew, but it said that Hebrew is the tongue of the creation. And then it says, and he took the books of his fathers, because this is the language that they were written in. So the Most High opened up his understanding, all right, to understand the pure language. And then he took the books of his fathers, and these were written in Hebrew, and he transcribed them. And he began from henceforth to study them. And I made known to him that which he could not understand. And he studied them during the 6 rainy months. All right. So during Abraham's day, Abraham studied the books of his fathers. All right. And who were they? Remember, Abraham came from a pagan background. His father worshiped idols, and he lived during a time where it says that idolatry and all of those things increased in the earth, because we know that Noah and his sons, they served the Most High all the way up until a certain point where men started to turn against the Most High. Then that led up to Abraham's time, and he was the one who sought for the God of truth. And so it was through him that the Most High operated and established his covenant in the earth and everything. But it said that he read the book of his fathers. All right. And so letting you know that these writings were written in ancient Hebrew, and that our forefathers was reading these books as well. All right.
Hey, I got something I want to say. It's on the topic, but the whole time somebody been texting me, talking junk, saying stuff like, how can you show what your God has done for you? You believe in, Yahweh or Yah. And then it goes on to say, well, why didn't Enoch pass down the skills, and all this? And I said, well, why don't you come on live and ask these questions? Actually, it's my ex brother-in-law. My sister that died is her ex-husband. That's who's sending these messages. He believe in the Cushite God. Then he told me one time that the Israelite comes from Cush, Ethiopia. He didn't even know. I asked him who was Cush. He didn't know that Cush and Ethiopia are one and the same. He didn't even know that. This guy's crazy. He believes in nothing. He believes in the Cushite God, but he believes in nothing. I've been trying to get him to come online. He's scared. He don't even know none of their languages, nothing. He just speak out his mouth and believe what he looks up, what the white man tells him online in fake articles that he put online. And so I've been trying to get him to come on live, but he's scared. He's a chicken, because I would eat him alive. And I don't want to get him so much on text. I'll be like, okay, just come live. But he won't. He won't come on live. And he talking about fake articles where don't use the dictionary. I don't need a dictionary. What is he talking about? But anyway, he's trying to downplay Enoch, Israel, and all of this. But he want to believe in a fake God that comes from Cush. Then I asked him, I said, what have the Cushites God done for you? He said nothing. I said, dude, something wrong with the guy. So he's messed up. He's kind of off in the head. And so I'm pretty sure he's looking at us right now. So if you want to come on live and ask these questions, they can get answered, bro. If not, then just believe what you want to believe. That's all I want to say.
Absolutely. I mean, if that's something you can set up, have a brother come on, and we do a discussion with him. We'll be more than then obliged to have him on, most definitely. But we all know what the scripture says about idols and the gods of the nations, and that they're idols. All right. Our forefather Abraham confounded his own father over his idols.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And for that zeal, that was one of the reasons that when you read the Apocalypse of Abraham, it says that Abraham invoked the Most High through that. All right. Just like people do things and rituals and stuff to invoke different spirits, our forefather invoked the Most High Elohim through his faith and through his righteousness. And so the gods of the nations are idols. All right. Our forefather Abraham, it says he was given understanding and he studied the books of his fathers, all right, during the 6 rainy months. So for 6 months, our forefather Abraham studied the books of his fathers. All right, so there are more books that came after Enoch. After Enoch wrote, the Most High inspired other men to write. All right. Do we have access to these books? Some of them not, some of them are lost, because remember, it tells you right here that these books were written in a pure Hebrew language. And so a lot of what we have now is pretty much based on things that were transcribed from that. Just like it said, Abraham read these books and he transcribed them. And so whatever he transcribed was passed down. And so you do that over time, into different languages. And this is why you got different so-called Hebrew languages, but that's the understanding of our forefather Abraham. He studied the books of our fathers. All right. So now this is the book of Jasher, chapter 3, verse 1. It says, if anytime you want to add something, Brother Kadar, you can just chime in at any time.
All right.
3 and 1, Jasher. It says, and Enoch lived 65 years, and he begat Methuselah. And Enoch walked with God after having begat Methuselah. And he served the Lord and despised the evil ways of men. And the soul of Enoch was wrapped up in the instruction of the Lord, not the spirit, but the instruction of the Lord, in knowledge and in understanding. All right. And he was wisely retired from the sons of men and secreted himself from them for many days. So Enoch was so tied up into loving the instruction of the Most High and understanding the Most High through knowledge and understanding that it says he didn't even want to be around people. It says he wisely retired from the sons of men and secreted himself from them many days. He hid himself from people just so he could be wrapped up in the instruction of the Most High. And it was at the expiration of many years, while he was serving the Lord and praying before him in his house, that an angel of the Lord came to him from heaven. And he said, here am I. And he said, rise, go forth from thy house and from thy place where thou dost hide thyself, and appear to the sons of men, in order that thou mayest teach them the way in which they should go, and the work which they must accomplish to enter into the ways of God. All right. So because Enoch was wrapped up in the instruction of the Most High, the angel came to him and told him to go and appear before men to teach them the instruction. Or in other words, there is a way that we serve the Most High. It's not just through this idea that we learn through Christianity of just believing and having faith. And that's not to do away with that. But those things apply within a certain understanding. All right. Our people suffer. Our people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even Paul said, my people have a zeal for the Most High, but not according to knowledge. And so because of that lack of knowledge, it causes us to establish our own righteousness. Verse 5, it says, and Enoch rose up according to the word of the Lord and went forth from his house, from his place, and from his chamber in which he was concealed. And he went to the sons of men and taught them the ways of the Lord. And at that time assembled the sons of men and acquainted them with the instruction of the Lord. All scripture is given by inspiration of the Most High, and is profitable for doctrine, for correction, for reproof, for instruction in righteousness. All right. So he acquainted the men of that time with the instruction of the Lord, and he ordered it to be proclaimed in all places where the sons of men dwelt, saying, where is the man who wishes to know the ways of the Lord and good works? Let him come to Enoch. All right. And all the sons of men then assembled to him, for all who desired this thing went to Enoch. And Enoch reigned over the sons of men according to the word of the Lord. And they came and bowed to him, and they heard his word. And the Spirit of God was upon Enoch, and he taught all his men the wisdom of God and his ways. And the sons of men served the Lord all the days of Enoch, and they came to hear his wisdom. So Enoch was a ruler and a king in his day because of the word of the Most High. It says, and all the kings of the sons of men, both first and last, together with their princes and judges, came to Enoch when they heard of his wisdom, and they bowed down to him, and they also required of Enoch to reign over them, to which he consented. So all the kings in the earth during that day came to Enoch for wisdom, all right, and they bowed to him and required that Enoch reign over them. So Enoch during his day was a symbol in the earth of the Most High, King of Kings. All the kings of the earth came to Enoch and asked him to reign over them. All right. To which he consented. And they assembled in awe. And this is not making Enoch, our forefather Enoch, an idol. This is showing you his greatness in the earth during his time, and how the Most High elevated him in the earth during his day because of how he led people to the instruction of the Most High. Just like how Pharaoh, or the king in Egypt during his day, elevated Joseph. And they assembled in all 130 kings and princes, and they made Enoch king over them, and they were all under his power and command. And Enoch taught them wisdom, knowledge, and the ways of the Lord, and he made peace amongst them. And peace was throughout the earth during the life of Enoch. And Enoch reigned over the sons of men 243 years, and he did justice and righteousness with all his people, and he led them in the ways of the Lord. And these are the generations of Enoch: Methuselah, Elisha, and Elimelech, 3 sons. And their sisters were Milcah, Naamah, and Methuselah lived 87 years, and he begat Lamech. Let me see. And it was in the 56th year of the life of Lamech when Adam died. 930 years old was he at his death. And his two sons, with Enoch and Methuselah his son, buried him with great pomp, as at the burial of kings in the cave which God had told him. And in that place all the sons of men made a great mourning and weeping on account of Adam. It has therefore become a custom among the sons of men to this day. And Adam died because he ate of the tree of knowledge, he and his children after him, as the Lord has spoken. And it was the year of Adam's death, which was the 243rd year of the reign of Enoch. In that time, Enoch resolved to separate himself from the sons of men to secret himself as at the first, in order to serve the Lord. So he separated himself again at another point, all right, so that he could serve the Most High. And Enoch did so, but did not entirely secret himself from them, but kept away from the sons of men 3 days, and then went to them for 1 day. And during the 3 days that he was in his chamber, he prayed to and praised the Lord his God. And the day on which he went and appeared to his subjects, he taught them the ways of the Lord. And all they asked him about the Lord, he told them. And he did in this manner for many years. And he afterward concealed himself for 6 days, and appeared to his people 1 day in 7. And after that, once in a month, and then once in a year, until all the kings, princes, and sons of men sought for him, and desired again to see the face of Enoch and to hear his word, but they could not, as all the sons of men were greatly afraid of Enoch, and they feared to approach him on account of the godlike awe that was seated upon his countenance. Therefore no man could look upon him, fearing he might be punished and die. All right, so who does that sound like? That sound familiar? How it says that they feared Enoch because of the godlike awe that was on his countenance, right? That sounds like when Moses was up on the mount 40 days and 40 nights, and how he came down and how his face was shining and the people was afraid of him. Same thing. Verse 21, it says, and all the kings and princes resolved to assemble the sons of men and to come to Enoch, thinking that they might all speak to him at the time when he should come forth amongst them. And they did so. And the day came when Enoch went forth, and they all assembled and came to him. And Enoch spake to them the words of the Lord, and he taught them wisdom and knowledge. And they bowed down before him, and they said, may the king live. May the king live. All right. So when we read about Enoch in the Bible, we read a very minute understanding of him. And it's kind of strange how a man who is said to walk with the Most High, and the Most High took him, has very little information in the Bible about him. All right. But we see that he was a very righteous man and that he was a king. He was one of our great forefathers. All right. One of the cheat codes that he had was the ability to separate himself from everybody and hollow himself out to the Most High, and to instruct all the men in the earth during that day to serve the Most High. All right. That's how powerful he was. And it's sometime after, when the kings and princes and the son of men were speaking to Enoch, and Enoch was teaching them the ways of God, behold, an angel of the Lord then called unto him from heaven, and wished to bring him up to heaven, to make him reign there over the sons of God, as he had reigned over the sons of men upon earth. So he was so righteous that the Most High not only allowed him to be a ruler in the earth, but he promoted him to reign over the sons of Elohim in heaven, as he reigned over the sons of men upon the earth. All right. Because remember, there are secrets that the Most High hasn't revealed to the angels, things that he's revealed to our great forefathers and things that we're understanding. All right. When at that time Enoch heard this, he went and assembled all the inhabitants of the earth and taught them wisdom and knowledge and gave them divine instructions. And he said to them, I have been required to ascend into heaven. I therefore do not know the day of my going. And now, therefore, I will teach you wisdom and knowledge and will give you instruction before I leave you, how to act upon the earth, whereby you may live. All right. So instructions on how we should be, how we should act, and how we should order ourselves in the earth that we may live. All right. He said he was going to heaven. All right. He didn't say he was finna die. He said, I have been required to ascend into heaven. And I therefore do not know the day of my going. All right. And he taught them wisdom and knowledge and gave them instruction, and he reproved them. And he placed before them statutes and judgments to do upon the earth. And he made peace amongst them, and he taught them everlasting life, and dwelt with them some time, teaching them all these things. And at that time, the sons of men were with Enoch, and Enoch was speaking to them. And they lifted up their eyes, and in the likeness of a great horse descended from heaven, and the horse paced in the air. All right. What that sound like? Don't that sound like when Elijah ascended up and was taken, how the horse, it said the horse came down?
Chariots. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It says, and they told Enoch what they had seen. And Enoch said to them, on my account does this horse descend upon earth. The time has come when I must go from you, and I shall no more be seen by you. And the horse descended at that time and stood before Enoch. So while he was talking to them, all of a sudden they seen a horse just pacing in the air. And then the horse is just descending down to pick him up. And it said, and the horse descended at that time and stood before Enoch, and all the sons of men that were with Enoch saw him. So he sent a VIP chariot to pick him up. All right. And Enoch then again ordered a voice to be proclaimed, saying, where is the man who delighted to know the ways of the Lord his God? Let him come this day to Enoch before he is taken from us. So the whole time Enoch is being elevated with men, he's steady leading these men back to the Most High. He's not trying to use this as a means to elevate himself or to make himself great in no kind of way. All right. All he's doing is simply instructing the Most High's people, instructing the people rather on how to live in the earth so that they could prosper and the Most High could be with them. All right. And so Enoch is finna leave, and they saying, look, whoever want instruction, let him come to Enoch now before he's taken away. And all the sons of men assembled and came to Enoch that day. And all the kings of the earth with their princes and counselors remained with him that day. And Enoch then taught the sons of men wisdom and knowledge and gave them divine instruction. And he bade them serve the Lord and walk in all his ways all the days of their lives. And he continued to make peace amongst them. All right. So Enoch's message is the same. It's consistent. The more we keep reading, the more we keep seeing that he bade them to serve the Lord, walk in his ways. He gave them wisdom, knowledge, divine instruction, right? Nothing more, nothing less. And for that same thing, the Most High keep elevating him because he keep doing that same one thing, you know. So verse 32, and it was after this that he rose up and rode upon the horse, and he went forth, and all the sons of men went after him, about 800,000 men, and they went with him one day's journey. All right. Now we know how they translate things, and this may or may not be 800,000 based on how they translate it, but this was letting you know that all the men during that time followed Enoch, all the rulers and the kings. So if the rulers and kings following him, of course they bring in all their people. And it was 100, and it said 132 or 130 some kings and princes that followed after Enoch. So they bring in all their people with them as well. And the second day he said to them, return home to your tents. Why will you go? Perhaps you may die. And some of them went from him, and those that remained went with him 6 days' journey. And Enoch said to them every day, return to your tents, lest you may die. But they were not willing to return, and they went with him. So they was stuck, just like the people wanted to go with the Mashiach. But he said, whether I go, you cannot come, But they steady saying, Lord, we're going to go with you. He said, no, you can't go with me. Where I'm going, you can't go. Enoch is telling them, but they were not willing. So they following him 6 days' journey. And on the 6th day, some of the men remained and clung to him. And they said to him, we will go with thee to the place where thou goest. As the Lord liveth, death only shall separate us. So they saying they willing to die. And they urged so much to go with him that he ceased speaking to them, and they went after him and would not return. So he quit talking to them. He quit trying to convince them to go back, and now he's like, man, okay, nothing I can do, nothing I can say. And when the kings returned, they caused a census to be taken in order to know the number of remaining men that went with Enoch. And it was upon the 7th day that Enoch ascended into heaven in a whirlwind with horses and chariots of fire. So many people left and tried to follow after Enoch that when they got back, they had to try to find out how many people we got. They had to take a census. It says, and on the 8th day, all the kings that had been with Enoch sent to bring back the number of men that were with Enoch in that place from which he ascended into heaven. And all those kings went to the place, and they found the earth there filled with snow. And upon the snow were large stones of snow. And one said to another, come, let us break through the snow to see perhaps the men that remained with Enoch are dead and are now under the stones of snow. And they searched, but could not find him, for he had ascended into heaven. All right. So giving you the history and the background on the ascension of Enoch into heaven and why the Most High dealt with him in the manner that he did. All right. And so it was so many people that followed after him. And when they went back to the land where he ascended from, it said it was snow and big stones of snow. And they breaking through them to see if they could find people, and they couldn't. And they couldn't find Enoch because he had ascended into heaven. When you read the book of Elijah, when it talks about his ascension, it said that they went searching for him in the mountains, because they thought maybe, perhaps the Most High cast them into the mountains somewhere, but they couldn't find them, and we got a understanding presentation dealing with Enoch and Elijah, but that's some background history on our forefather Enoch, showing some more of our greatness, our inherited greatness, and things that we have access to based on, our belief and based on our faith and what we read. Do we believe the records of our forefathers? Some of these things are far-fetched to some people, but to me, one thing I know is that if they can put it in your face, then it is in some way, form, or fashion a reality. A lot of what they put in our face is mimicked from our records, in a lot of different ways. And we soak it up through entertainment, through movies and action and adventure and all these things. And a lot of our people don't even understand you can get a lot of that just by simply reading your records. You want drama, you want to be entertained and all that. You can get a lot of that just from reading your own records. This is what a lot of your big producers and stuff, well, a lot of them don't do it, but they hire people who actually sit down, study ancient material, pick up different plots and rhythms from stuff that they read, and they just create a script behind it, change the characters, same flow, same spirit, same everything. They do our records like that.
Yes, that is so true. That's why whenever I talk to a person that's in Christianity, because Christianity is abroad, they think they can pick up a book and read it and say that's us. And I asked this person one time, I said, how can you preach a message about King David when he was a little boy, defeated the giant, and say, God can give me that power to do this? And I said, well, hold up. I said, who was the Most High talking to? Who is his chosen people? And they were like, well, Israel. I said, well, you can't. Are you Israel? And like, well, I think I'm a Gentile. I think he's an Israelite, but anyway. I was like, so why do Christianity read stories has nothing to do with them and place themselves in that? Even within our own community, even within Israel, not knowing they Israel, that's what they do. So the question is, how can you read a story, put yourself there and say, well, you know what? God can do that for me because he did it for Israel. You can't do that. I mean, that's what they, like you said, replacement theology within itself. That's what we doing in these Christian churches. And like if they read us, like somebody put a post up there and said, would Christians call Enoch, what he was teaching, Judaizing? Yes, they would, because they go to Paul and they're trying to use Paul and say, oh, that's Judaizing. When you teaching customs, the heritage, the commandments, the law, you can't do that. And yes, I think that was Brother Sean, right? Yeah. Yes, that right there, I believe that they would call Enoch a Judaizer. That would say that about Enoch, because a lot of they want to take hold of the Most High, they want to take hold of the Hamashiach, but they don't want to do what is required. They'll say, no, we don't have to do that.
Right. And that's, I heard a few people use Enoch or try to use that as a means to say it's not about Israel and all of that. But then that lets me know that people don't really examine these things, Shalom and blessings, brother Apostle Curtis Lewis, aka SCM Foy. Hope you're doing well, sir. Thank you for joining in. But yeah, the Book of Enoch, man, and then we haven't even got into the actual things, that he had written concerning the destruction of the end time. I'm gonna say that for another time. We 2 hours in now.
Yeah.
But it's amazing, man, to see how when you read through these things, you can tie them with what we call the scriptures today. So I don't understand why these things are not really included. But Brother Sean made a good point. He said, this is why Luciferian Christians don't want to deal with Enoch, because he instructed them to keep the way exactly. And like I said, just like the account we just read then, we read it consistently throughout that whole chapter. Enoch instructed the people in the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the Most High. He didn't preach sermons. He didn't, he wasn't arbitrary in his approach with the word. He was direct, and he knew who he was giving it to. Now, it said all the sons of men during that day, and we know weren't no Israelites during that day. However, that still wouldn't be used as an excuse for what people doing today, because during that day, people were still gravitating to what Enoch was giving them, which was the instructions, the wisdom, and the knowledge. And so that would be incomparable to today, because that's not what people are gravitating to today. If Enoch was here today, would people conform or be reproved by him, or would people say the same thing that they telling us? Oh man, it's not all about that no more. Jesus came and died and did all the work. They would tell Enoch that same thing in this day. And that's why when the Most High sends Enoch and Elijah back, they're going to do what they're going to do. They're going to bring judgments on the earth. These are the same two men who in their day instructed the Most High's people in how to walk. And the Most High is going to use them same two men in this day, or when he appoints them to return to do a greater work, which is to really bring judgments on the earth. So that lets you know that people are not in line with Enoch,
So true.
But anything else you want to add real quick? I'm gonna take a break and come back. I'm gonna get some comments. I'm gonna put the link in here again. I'm gonna get some comments from the comments section, and then after that we're gonna close out. You wanna add something?
Oh no, I don't have nothing to add. I'll just so you go ready to take a break.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a break real quick. But like I said, I'm gonna try to play that video sometime later, so the family can get a hold of that. And like I said, don't forget about the Kingdom Conversations Wednesday nights, Friday night prayers, and this evening, Most High willing, we're gonna come back and have another fellowship this evening.
I've seen something on Kingdom. Is that tonight?
Nah, that's Wednesday night.
That's
This is
tonight. Okay. All right.
Yeah, it's just a banner letting people know it's Wednesday night.
Okay.
And absolutely, thank you, Brother Donovan. If you haven't, please hit that like button. That'll be greatly appreciated. So let's take a break. When I come back, I want to see what you brothers and sisters have to say about the history of our forefather Enoch, and if it was edifying or not. All right. Shalom and blessings. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for listening. I'll be right back.
What up, E? What up, E? What up, E?
Shalom, shalom. Welcome back. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for chiming in, spending your time with the family, the Salt of the Earth Productions. Shout out to my brothers again, Brother Bunya, Brother Cleo, got my brother Kadar on the live with us. He been MIA for a while, but now he back. So y'all watch out. So what I want to do now is I want to get some comments from the chat. You know, I got the link in the chat. Shalom and blessings, Sister Yvette. Glad you could join in. But I wanted to remind brothers and sisters tonight about tonight's discussion. Like I told you, I was torn between dealing with this early and the other topic, dealing with the Mashiach. And the title of that is going to be, Who Do Ye Say That I Am? All right, and I want to save that for later, like I said, because more brothers and sisters will be able to chime in on that. But one thing that's prompting me to deal with that as well is I caught wind of a comment that somebody made concerning our channel and concerning our platform, concerning the Mashiach. And I don't remember what the exact statement was, but the statement was centered around them believing that we don't address the Mashiach enough, which is something I don't really agree with, but I understand where they were coming from. If you really if you look at Christianity and how I'm gonna say Jesus, you know, is used in Christianity, as opposed to how we apply the true Mashiach, all right, the true Jesus according to the Bible, is two different things. And so when we mention the Mashiach, we mention him within the context of like how we read about our forefather Enoch, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, you know, because the Most High does everything in order. And one thing that I'm seeing, and this is not to elevate myself or anybody, but one thing I'm seeing is that a lot of people are dealing with the Mashiach from a one-dimensional perspective. And what I mean by that is that a lot of people are only seeing the Mashiach from a New Testament angle, or they're only dealing with him from the New Testament, all right, without understanding the New Testament and being able to tie that back to what was of old, you know, like how Peter said, we have a more sure word of prophecy. And so what I'm getting to is that a lot of people are not able to tie the Mashiach to the Old Testament and show that it was him in the Old Testament before he manifests in the flesh. And because of that, you have a division or a separation. All right, Christianity believes one thing, and even some of our brothers and sisters who are of the knowledge that we're Israel, you know, we have different understandings of who the Mashiach is. So the topic for tonight is going to be, who do ye say that I am? All right. And he asked that question because he's asking you based on what the Spirit of the Father has allowed you to see about him and to know about him. Who do ye say that I am? When Peter answered that question, he said, Blessed art thou, Simon, for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father, which is in heaven. So what has the Father revealed to you about the Mashiach? That's what we're going to talk about later on. Brother Kadar, you want to chime in on that?
Yeah, whoever made that comment about we don't talk about Jesus enough, I really think they don't understand, because we use like Hamashiach, me, I use Yahweh Shai, Yeshua, And I think because they don't hear the name Jesus, I think is what it's all about. But we use the Hamashiach probably more than anything when we talking about, depends on what we're teaching on. And I think that's what it is. If you in Christianity, you think that, Jesus, if you don't use the name Jesus, which we know it ain't no more than over 400 some years, well, not quite 400 years old.
Yeah.
A little less than that. But if you don't use that, then you lost or you crazy. But when you do it, like I tell people in Christian, I say, okay. Matter of fact, bless her heart, my sister that died, before she came into the truth, she used to argue with me about the name Jesus. And so I told her, I said, you look it up for yourself. I said, I tell you what, my niece, which is her daughter, she's an English major. I said, go ask your niece. And she did. And she said, yes, the J is the last letter that came in the English alphabet. And she called me back. She was like, wow, I didn't know that. I said, I've been trying to tell you. So I think Christianity is stuck on the name. We use Hamashiach all the time, and they don't get it, which means Messiah. I think if we use Christ or Jesus, then they would see that we talk about the Hamashiach a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I think is what it is. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's also proof that people are not really respecting the work. When people can make statements, or when people can think they can measure you on sight, them brothers ain't this, them brothers ain't that. That's just to me, that's a lack of respect. You know what I mean? To belittle somebody like that without really engaging and hearing what people have to say. You know what I mean? People don't really spend the time to respect other people, and that's another curse on our people. The lack of respect and regard that we have for one another when it comes to this work. Now, if something is an error, it's an error, and the brothers on this panel and the people on this panel have enough decency to address those things. We got a few pit bulls in the chat, you know what I mean? But that just come with the territory. You know what I mean? Anything you do, you're gonna have people who are skeptical, and they measure everything that you say along with their understanding. So it's just, man, I don't know, man. I don't really know what to say about that, but I want to bring that out because, like I said, a lot of people's understanding of who the Mashiach is different. All right, I want to bring some out real quick. Let me pull this up. Okay, this is 2 Corinthians. I read this before, but let me see. 2 Corinthians 11, dealing with the Mashiach. It says, would to Elohim ye could bear with me a little in my folly, and indeed bear with me. For I am jealous over you with godly jealousy. For I have espoused, meaning reserved, you to one husband, that I may present you as a chaste virgin to Mashiach. But I fear lest by any means, as the serpent beguiled Eve through his subtlety, so your mind should be corrupted from the simplicity that is in Mashiach. So Paul is saying, I'm jealous over you with a godly jealousy, because I have espoused you unto one husband, right? Meaning the Mashiach. He's the bridegroom. We as a people, we the bride. But I'm afraid that just like Eve got deceived by the serpent through his subtlety, that your minds is going to be corrupted from the simplicity that is in Mashiach, the same Mashiach that I espouse to you. For if he that cometh preacheth another Yehoshua or another Jesus, whom we have not preached, or if ye receive another spirit, which ye have not received, or another gospel, which ye have not accepted, ye might well bear with him. For I suppose I was not a whit behind the very chiefest apostle. So he's saying, I'm afraid that you're going to be deceived from being a spouse to this one husband, this one Mashiach. You're going to be deceived into accepting another Mashiach or another Jesus. So it's more than one Mashiach. This is what Christianity doesn't teach us. Most of us not learning that it's more than one Mashiach. It's one, you have a Mashiach of the Bible, and then you have a Mashiach of popular demand or Christianity. And this is part of that mystery of iniquity that was at work during that day. Because not only did they bring in a whole nother doctrine, they brought in a whole nother Mashiach along with them. And that's the Mashiach that everybody say they love now.
Yes, that's so true. And that's what Christianity do. They take the HaMashiach and they completely just take him and go straight to Yah. In other words, they just said he's God. They don't look at the way he said, if pray to the Father. They don't see no type of separation. When you look at the word Elohim, it means plural in Hebrew, but they just look at no type of separation. He said, if you see me, you see the Father. It's just like if you married to your wife and she married to you and you have to sign some papers, right? Y'all one, but you're not one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yet still Christianity don't look at it that way. And so they believe in this other HaMashiach that's telling you don't have to keep no laws. You can eat pork. You can do what you want. Just ask for forgiveness. And then as a whole, that right there is a promise to Israel. That's another replacement theology. It's not promised to anybody. It's promised to Israel. Anybody want to take hold to the customs and cleave to Israel? Yes. But, the way they teach it, it's promised to Israel. It's not promised to everybody. Everybody didn't get the laws. Everybody didn't get the punishment. We got it.
Yeah. And so there's just something to keep in mind, when you're dealing with the Mashiach, just know that it's more than one, And so when you hear people speak about the Mashiach, just measure what they're saying based on what you know according to the scriptures about him. And then a lot of people, like I said, can't make the connection between what we call the Old Testament and the New Testament. They say the God of the Old Testament was a cruel, unforgiving God, and Mashiach came to pretty much do away with all of that. Now everybody's under the new covenant and it's all about love, and the evil are going to be those who are just doing evil, just vaguely. Nothing really to pinpoint, and so a real thinking person to hear all that and say, well, what about, judgment on these people who have destroyed the earth? You saying that these people, all they have to do is just recite something and then it's okay? just leaves a lot of unanswered questions, a lot of undealt with issues, you know. So, like I said, that'll be for tonight's discussion. I really would like to hear what you brothers and sisters have on that concerning the Mashiach and who he is, who he should be to us as a people, how we should honor him based on his works, based on his love for us, you know, how should we view him? And also we may talk a little bit about, you know, since we dealing with who do ye say that I am? You know, a lot of people believe that he's the physical and biological seed of Joseph, you know. So we may touch on some of that as well to bring out some understanding on these things. You know, what do these records say? What do the records say? You know, what does the information say? You know,
I had a brother that I used to talk to from California, young guy, know the word good. All of a sudden, he jumped to that, just saying Joseph was the father. And I took him to, I think it's Isaiah 7, if I'm not mistaken. Talks about a child shall be born.
yeah.
I asked him, I said, well, who is this child is talking about? He had nothing for that. So I went back to the Old Testament that showed the prophecy of a child that shall be born. And, you know, they should be called, you know, Emmanuel. And, you know, he had nothing for that. So in other words, he was saying there's no Hamashiach. That's what he was saying, basically. He was saying that Joseph was his father. Then he was saying, but he had questions he couldn't answer, you know.
Exactly.
And that clearly tells you that, you know, that she was already with child when they got together. So it's crazy anyway. But I understand. Let me tell you why I do understand when some of these brothers go there, because we've been lied to so long. And you can look back in history and see the false Marian and Hamashiach if you go back to Babylon culture, because they already knew a prophecy. They already knew that. So, of course, they're going to, you know, do an imitation before the real thing comes. And I think that right there plays a big part in a lot of our brothers start to not to believe. Even a lot of our brothers don't even believe the New Testament. This is how bad Esau and mixed in with Japhet people messed us up. And my heart goes out to them. I don't get upset at them because I understand why. I mean, if you've been lied to like that too, it could cause you, but you got to be stable and you got to read, even go back to the Dead Sea Scrolls tells you of a Hamashiach. Not like the Hamashiach we got in the New Testament, what they watered down.
Yeah.
So that's a whole nother story, but yeah.
Yeah. And you know, it's amazing, man, because you're right, you know, but then that's where we have to make a difference and separate. You know, I've been around long enough in this truth to kind of know where these things are rooted in. And if you go online and look it up, you'll see that a lot of these positions, a lot of these debates come from Islam. You'll see a lot of Islam and Christian debates over whether Mary was a virgin and things like that. And these debates date back, you know, 10 years ago or so or more, some of them. And if you go and listen to some of these points that a lot of these brothers are bringing out now, it's the same points that they're bringing out. You see what I'm saying? So that kind of perplexes me because it's like everything has a history, right? Even what we bring out, it has a history. And so we have to go back and look at the history of what we bringing out to see if it lines up, to see if it holds the the test of trial and error, of questioning, strong investigation. That's how we do things at the salt of the earth. And so when you deal with, like I said, some of these brothers' positioning, you see where it's coming from. And I dealt with a brother recently, who I allowed him to break it down. I didn't let him know that I pretty much understood a lot of the points he was bringing out, but I made that understood somewhat afterwards, and I gave him another perspective to consider, dealing with that information. But then everything has a root, we can't credit Christianity for calling the mother of our Lord holy, or placing her in that regard. How does Christianity back then or even now reflect what is said that she lived? She lived a holy life, and she gave birth while being untouched. How does Christianity reflect that? How does Catholicism reflect that? It's one of the most vile religions on the earth. And even Christianity, if you look at it throughout the ages, it's one of the most vile religions on the earth, where a lot of sexual immorality goes on, and especially in the top. So none of that reflects any of that. There are a lot of simple questions we have to ask ourselves when we dealing with the birth of our Lord, his mother, how she lived, who her parents were. You know what I mean? It's a lot of unconsidered elements that brothers are leaving out to come to these conclusions. And I think it's dangerous. You know what I mean? I think it's dangerous. I don't condemn my brothers, but we have to understand things that we're certain about. You know what I mean? And when you hear what a lot of these brothers say, it's kind of gut wrenching, man, to hear how people perceive that our Mashiach was conceived. It's like, how do you come to an understanding like that without any solid proof? And all you have to do is go question it 2 or 3 levels deep.
Hello? 2
levels deep. Everything that they say, and like you said, they don't have nothing for you. But I look into that, rightfully so. That's what we all need to do. We need to look deep into things. We need to look at what's in front of us and be able to break it down, But like I said, we may chime in on some of that of the discussion tonight. I want a lot of people to come forth and really bring it out, man, because Israel, we have to be in agreement. The same Mashiach that people reject, some of us accept. He's the same one that's coming to deliver us. And so at that point, I'm quite sure that ain't nobody going to be worrying about telling him who he's not. Right?
Yes.
Would you tell a person who delivered you out of a dire circumstance who they're not? Or would you be concerned about who they are? Right?
Yes.
You saved my life. You saved me from a instant and a moment of death. And after you do it, oh man, you ain't strong, man. You ain't did nothing. It's disrespectful. I kind of see why the Mashiach coming back angry.
Mm-hmm.
From all these generations and ages of disrespect, not only from other people, but even from his own people. So when I come back, y'all gonna know who I am. I'm gonna rule over you with a rod of iron. For the disrespect, for all this, I come out of Egypt and I ain't real, and I'm a concept that, other religions, which ain't none of that true. None of that is true. I study religions. I study actual history of religions in school. Nobody's religion, if you study the history of it, has a deity of any kind that died for the people and rose back from the dead. Nobody. Study the history. Don't look at the nice, pretty little flyers that they put in your face with the propaganda on it. Go back in the books and look at history. Look at the history of what's his name? They said he liked the Mashiach. The dude that see, I can't think of his name. One of the Roman gods, Mithra, and not to mention his name like that, but they use him as an example to say that he was born of a virgin, he was born on December 25th, and all this kind of stuff. But when you look at the actual history of that deity, he carved himself out of a rock. That's the actual history. But the propaganda is that he was born on December 25th, born of a virgin, and all this kind of stuff. So there's a lot of propaganda that's set up as a means to keep you from believing in the Mashiach. If you can say, well, what he did, this other guy did, or some other culture, right? Then you're not going to hold that in a high regard. You're not going to even believe it really happened. Because where's the history of that happening in any other culture? But I don't know. I go on and on about that because that kind of stuff, it sets me off, man, because it shows me people are not really seeking to understand. If you really love something, man, you're going to put forth a better effort to understand and even tolerate some things if you got to. We get ridiculed for believing in the Mashiach. But can't nobody prove you nothing wrong on nothing you say. Our Mashiach is limitless. There's nothing he can't do.
That's right. That's right.
And there's nothing that he didn't do. Elohim in the flesh. The only somebody to come in the flesh and raise somebody up from the dead while he was in the flesh. The only. That's how you know who he was.
Yes, and this is the thing. Yes, to be raised up from the dead is a miracle, but that prophecy goes back what they call the Old Testament. Some of us Israelites during that time when he did rise was suspecting that. That's why you have the women, going to the tomb. They were suspecting because they knew the prophecy. Even you look in Africa today, you heard stories of people rising up like zombies and stuff. So that was more in our culture too. But like how these brothers is getting rid of Hamashiach because the lies of our slave masters to put or translate, trying to fix things to fit them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so Yes, it is dangerous, and I pray for them. But I understand, but that don't make it right for them to completely cast out, the Hamashiach, because what it meant for Hamashiach, we would have no forgiveness of sins, of breaking the law. And that right there is with thinking about that, that's a gift within itself. We probably were being wiped out completely, like the so-called, like the Native Americans. I mean, people claim to be Native Americans today, but we know it's for a fact there ain't no true people, the first Native Americans that was here. Look at us. We still look the same as a whole. We still got the nappy hair. We still got the big lips and the noses. Some of us don't, some of us do. But as a whole, we still look the same. That's proof right there that what the Hamashiach did for us, we can look at each other and see it today. We are still here. Other than that, would have been wiped out. That's why in Luke 21, he tells them, hey, you see Jerusalem passing on him. Look, man, get up out of here. Run, run to the mountains, run deep into Africa. Because the days of vengeance is here, said the Lord. Because what y'all do, because we turn our backs on the Most High. We was in the crowd saying, crucify him, even though the Edomites was ahead of that. So it would have been from what he did for us, we wouldn't be here today. And when I say that, that's not talking about the whole world. See, Christianity used it for the whole world. Well, the whole world would have been destroyed. That's not that's for us. And that's something that Christianity don't really. That's right. Still got them naps. Nappy. All right. That's all I got to say.
But yeah, man, that I wanna get into that later. You know what I mean?
Somebody said our hair is not nappy. That's right, brother. That's right.
He said tightly curled.
That's right. We got the best hair in the world. I shouldn't have said that. But wool, let's say woolly hair. Exactly right. You're right.
So it's so tightly curled it'll leave your comb snag a tooth.
It grows up towards the sun, not down. Ain't that something?
Yeah. But this is, like I said, a topic, and apparently nobody has much on the Enoch history. I would strongly suggest that brothers and sisters, if you get the time, spend some time reading over those records, the 12 patriarchs, Jasher, Jubilees, Enoch, and anything with a biblical undertone that can help bring out a better understanding. Like I said, don't limit yourself due to the fact that our records have been subject to our enemies, and believe it or not, when it comes to finding out stuff, there are a lot of Gentiles, so to speak, that you can look at and actually get some good information from. Excuse me, particularly when you're dealing with the areas of archaeology and things like that. A lot of those fields were set up for that purpose, to really control the narrative of history. And they send these people out to excavate and do work in certain places. They looking for resources, in some of these places as well. That's the main thing they looking for. But then they'll come show you a bone or a old pottery bowl or something like that, and they'll date it to a certain time period just to suffice the viewer, but they have ulterior motives behind that. But some of these archaeologists, historians, anthropologists, some of these people, they bring forth some good information. If you have the patience to kind of hear them out, some of the stuff they say and show, it validates a lot of the stuff that we read in our records, and what they'll do is This is why when you deal with that field of study, you always have two sides. You have one side that will affirm the things in the Bible, and then another side will come in, pretty much outdated or set a date to a different time period, and that's what they present to us. But it took one group to go out and actually find the evidence to show, okay, the Bible said this happened in this area. Bam, we found evidence of that actually happening. And so the people who sent them there come and just overshadow it with, oh, well, we'll predate this to a different time period to, pretty much say that the Bible is not true. And that's all they do. Nothing spectacular. You know what I mean? They know the Bible is true. They're trying to get ahead of the narrative and stay ahead of it. You know what I'm saying? This is why they spend so much time in certain locations. You know what I mean? And then even over in Saudi Arabia, places like that, they have areas blocked off, by the government that people can't go to. You know what I mean? We know that Egypt has been renovated many times to make it a tourist attraction. This is why people who go over there now are pretty much wasting their time and money, if you ask me. Yeah, it's a trip over to another country, but at the same time, you're not really seeing anything ancient the way it was back then. You're seeing a tourist attraction. They've renovated Egypt so many times. They done broke so many monuments and things that was built. It's ridiculous. This is why you have people saying ain't no proof of the Israelites over there, when you can look at another historian to show you the blatant proof of the Israelites being over there. Both professionals, both getting paid 6-figure, 7-figure salaries, but one telling you it's true, one telling you it's not. So there's something to think about, man, when we dealing with history and we dealing with our records on that note. But you got anything else you want to add, bro? I'm gonna go ahead and close this out for the day.
Just want to say shalom, family. It was a great teaching, and Born Bo had put up, according to 12 tribes chart, 10 Latino tribes and 10, what's that, 10 Negroes, and only Judah stayed the same. Yeah, that's so true. But just like to say, yeah, it was a great teaching. I love that the way you brought out the book. A lot of people, it's something that I just don't understand. If I was a heathen or a Gentile, I don't know why would you want to take out the Book of Enoch. It is so beautiful book. It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say.
Yeah, Brother Sean touched on that. He said because of what Enoch was bringing out, he was teaching people the instruction, the wisdom, and the knowledge. He wasn't just some spiritual deviant, with no understanding, no knowledge, no instruction, just all spirit. All right. We got to quit using that as an excuse. All right. The spirit. But I want to thank the brother Kadar for chiming in. Like I said, sometime maybe in the late afternoon, sometime maybe I'm gonna try to play that video that he put up yesterday dealing with leaving Babylon and going into the wilderness. Real good video. So y'all, if you get a chance, be on the lookout for that. Don't forget about the Kingdom Conversations Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. That's Brother Cleo. Shalom to him. Got the prayer Friday nights between 7:30, 8 p.m. Sometimes it depends on whenever the brothers can settle down and get that started. But sometime between 7:30, 8 p.m. Fridays, join in for the prayer. If you brothers and sisters have any passages, scriptures you want to dedicate as an encouragement to the family, feel free to do so. You can do it via email. You can see the email scrolling across the bottom, or you could just be a soldier about it. And when we post the link, just chime in and just let us have it, however you want to do it. We greatly appreciate it. Please hit that like button if you enjoyed this fellowship today. Hit the like button and the share button. Shalom and blessings to you, brother Apostle. Thank you for joining us. On that note, brothers and sisters, well, we got to do this the right way. You know how we got to do it. All right. We're going to close with our prayer for deliverance. It says, for no worm thanks thee, nor a maggot recounts thy loving kindness. Only the living thank thee. All they whose feet totter thank thee. When thou makest known to them thy loving kindness and causest them to understand thy righteousness. For the soul of all the living is in thy hand. Thou hast given breath to all flesh. O Lord, do towards us according to thy goodness, according to the greatness of thy mercies, and according to the greatness of thy righteous deeds. The Lord listens to the voice of all who love his name and does not permit his loving kindness to depart from them. Blessed be the Lord, doer of righteous deeds, who crowns his pious ones with loving kindness and mercies. My soul shouts to praise thy name, to praise with jubilation thy mercies, to announce thy faithfulness. There is no limit to thy praises. I belong to death because of my sins, and my iniquities had sold me to Sheol. But thou didst save me, O Lord, according to the greatness of thy mercies, according to the greatness of thy righteous deeds. I too have loved thy name and have taken refuge in thy shadow. When I remember thy power, my heart is strengthened, and I rely on thy mercies. Forgive my sins, O Lord, and purify me of my iniquity. Grant me a spirit of faithfulness and knowledge. Let me not be dishonored in my ruin. Grant me a spirit of faithfulness and knowledge. Let me not be dishonored in my ruin. Let not Belial dominate me, nor an unclean spirit. Let pain and the evil inclination not possess my bones. For thou, O Lord, art my praise, and I hope in thee every day. My brethren rejoice with me, and my sisters. My brethren rejoice with me, and the house of my father is astounded by thy graciousness. Forever I will rejoice in thee. Hallelujah. Amen. May the Lord bless those who believe on his word. All right. May the Lord bless those who have a hunger and a thirst for righteousness and truth. May he grant that. All right. May he go above and beyond what we may ask or think. I want to say peace and blessings to all you brothers and sisters. I want to thank you for your time. May the Most High bless you and keep you. All right. May he reward you for the time that you spend in fellowship with brothers and sisters who are seeking the truth, seeking the Most High, and loving His name. Hallelujah. Till we meet again, peace and blessings. Shalom.